Bursting with excitement and enthusiasm, the Diyafah community outreach team gathered at the Dubai International Airport, all smiles as we bid farewell to our parents. After a much-awaited hour, during which we could barely contain our excitement, we boarded our flight. Almost 4 hours and 40 minutes later, we found ourselves stumbling across the airport in Colombo, barely awake after the exhausting journey. At the airport, we were warmly received by our tour guides, Miss Angela and Mr. Lanka, and the hour-long drive to Colombo began. Our first stop had been McDonald's, where hunger got the best of us and everyone tucked into a hearty meal. After breakfast, we drove to our hotels, where we rested for an hour before heading off to the National Museum of Colombo, where we were exposed to an enchanting mix of myth, history, and culture. Towards the end of our excursion, we did a little shopping at a delightful handicraft store. On the way back, we stopped at the Independence Square, where we clicked a few pictures and took a short tour around the busy and vibrant Colombo, which was the perfect blend of modern life and colonial buildings and ruins. We returned to the hotel for an early dinner before caving into a well-earned rest.
As we approached the orphanage, we were greeted with a spontaneous Sri Lankan cultural dance. The men were dressed in bright red and subtle white, with traditional accessories on their arms and upper body.
We were also treated to a short dance by the younger children. As students, we were overwhelmed at this warm welcome.
The day began with handing over the solar lamps, chocolates, and stationery to the children. Seeing the smiles on their faces made us realize the importance of being gifted with loving parents who always support us throughout our lives.
The first activity made use of the children's creative skills by making them draw designs on colored cloth with bleach.
The second activity regarded the use of putting together Lego pieces to build up a structured object.
Later, we decided to play a game of musical chairs with the children and also kept the spirits up by singing an inspirational song for them.
The day ended with us receiving our certificates of community service.
Knowing that the only thing these children could hold on to was hope and our small acts of kindness towards their present and future made this day a lot more meaningful than it was supposed to be.
Just like the previous days, we woke up early, high in spirits for a good day's trip. To begin with, we had our breakfast and checked out of our hotel. It was going to be approximately 3 to 4 hours drive. Most of us were enjoying, watching, and taking photographs of the scenic beauty on the highway. But later, to our surprise and horror, our bus's front tire punctured and was completely deflated. It took more than an hour and a half for the replacement bus to arrive. After we finally reached MCC, the girls had already finished lunch and we started ours. Later, the chief curator and the coach of the cricket team took us around the campus. They had a lovely cricket ground, a semi-Olympic sized swimming pool donated by Brian Adams, and a well-equipped gym. He also stated that Mutaya Muralidharan was a frequent and regular donor of the club. Later that day, Mr. Kushal Gunasekara, the founder of the Foundation of Goodness Center, took us on a tour around the campus. He showed us the classes, which included the computer lab, an art and craft room, a class dedicated specially for business and accounts, and a sewing state-of-the-art classroom. After that, we donated our solar lamps that we brought along with us, and Mr. Gunasekara was thrilled and overwhelmed by the efforts taken by us. As a token of his gratitude, he gave us certificates for our contribution and endeavor. We said goodbye to Mr. Gunasekara and his staff members, and we headed towards our next city, Kandy. It was a tiresome but memorable day, and it was a very heartwarming experience. Our visit to the Kandy Cancer Treatment Center was on the 4th day of our trip. We were guided by Mr. Samarakun into the treatment wards that were located above the general hospital. He showed us around and informed us about all that was being done for the patients. Later on, we had the privilege of being in the presence of a highly educated professor who shared with us valuable information and broadened our view on what cancer really is. Later on, we toured the adjacent property that was being developed into the extension to the existing hotel that will further enhance the facilities for the patients. We bid adieu to the team on the ground and we proceeded to our respective buses to continue our journey and explore the beautiful and exotic paradise that is Sri Lanka.
Day 5. Morning in Negombo was glorious. After having been feasted upon by mosquitoes in our lovely beachside hotel, we woke up to the sound of splashing rain. Rejuvenated by the heavenly breeze, we got ready to head out to do some shopping. On our way, we stopped and did some sightseeing at a beautifully aged church. The architecture and artwork of this church was unlike anything we've seen before, and there were lovely statues on the walls. At the shopping center, most of us got at least one bag of Ceylon tea for our families and of course ourselves. Lunch break. We went to a lovely restaurant called the Tuskers, where we devoured some delicious chicken, followed by scrumptious ice cream for dessert.
What is up?
We were then greeted by a representative of our tour company.
He had wanted me to convey the message whereas we are thankful to Mr. Mahesh for being the master in charge. We as Sri Lankans are thankful to Diyafah school who have considered Sri Lanka, leaving many other Asian countries behind, to have made a community trip and visited our orphanages, cancer hospitals, Foundation of Goodness, which have given some happiness for those people who are not so fortunate as us.
He bid us farewell by giving us souvenir plates on behalf of Mr. Pereira as a token of appreciation for visiting Sri Lanka. Our hunger satisfied, we set off for the airport, with heavy hearts and fond memories that will be cherished for a lifetime.
Thanks very much. Safe journey, all of you.
Thank you.
And good term, and do your studies well.
Thank you so much, sir.
Right?
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Take care.
Okay.
Goodbye, Sri Lanka, and hope our paths cross again.
You're going back to the room?
Oh my god.